This is Analog and Digital Communication Systems. The course code is EC501. It has 3 lectures per week and total 36 contact hour in the semester. It has 3 number of credit points. Myself, Dr. Indranath Sarkar, Associate Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at JS College of Engineering, Kollani. It has 5 course outcome. At the end of the course, we expect the students will able to explain the importance of amplitude and digital modulation, demodulation schemes, analyze analog communication systems for their signal to noise ratio, efficiency and bandwidth, compare the advantage of various pulse modulation technique and analyze their system performance, demonstrate signal representation, analyze various digital communication techniques, can compute the bit error performance and compare their advantages and limitations. So these are the points we expect that students will able to demonstrate or explain or analyze or compute or compare. So all these things will make the students mastermind on this subject. There are 5 modules for this subject, and for each of the subject there are some contact hours limited to complete. There are 6 contact hours assigned to module 1 for introductory descriptions. For the module 2, random process has 6 contact hours. 3 contact hours assigned to module 3 on pulse modulation, 8 contact hours assigned to signal vector representation under module 4. In module 5, digital modulation technique has 13 contact hours. So total 13 plus 8 plus 3 plus 6 plus 6. So total 36 contact hours exist for the completion of analog digital communication systems. For like every subject has prerequisite, here is also the knowledge of signal vector representation, characteristics of additive wide Gaussian noise, geometric representation of signals, synthesizer, analyzer, signal vector, signal space, Euclidean space are required. Signals and systems is a subject which is covered in earlier semester, has many things to recall for the analog and digital communication system. So signal and system is an important subject before understanding analog and digital communication. Still there are mathematics, that is engineering mathematics covered up to 3rd semester, has plenty of mathematical equations such as the Fourier transformation, Laplace transformation. So those things are required to understand, as well as trigonometric applications are required for analog and digital communication. Statistical part will be revised here. So that is why if the basic statistical part required, it is needed to be recapitulated. Now these are the course outcome versus program outcome mapping. Now as the analog and digital communication has plenty of application in the domain of information technology, that is why we are finding there are almost all the program outcome has minimum contribution to one or more course outcome. The course outcome weightage 3 is given for high weightage, 2 weightage is given for moderate weightage, and 1 value is written, that is the numerical value 1 is given for least weightage to some program outcome. And if there is no such linkage, then it is kept blank. Now as the basic mathematics related, that is why it has high weightage to program outcome 1 and program outcome 2. Also it is dealing with several project oriented work, because in communication system various basic modulator, demodulator, as well as quantizer, equalizer, many circuits, basic circuits are utilized for the communication system. That is why it is also related to implementation of project. There are various projects which could be implemented using a communication circuitry. Also there are various mathematical equations required to reduce the noise addition to the transmitted signal. So transmitted signal are prone to noise. That is why noise elimination is one of the most important factor for analog and digital communication. Here the differences of analog and digital communication will be taught, and thereby students will understand how digital communication dominates over analog communication, but cannot avoid analog communication for the transmission of digital signals through wireless medium. So that is why various project related as well as seminar conferences, English languages, all are related and has weightage, as well as it has lifelong learning because students may target for circuit implementation, that is their dream project may be implemented later. So that is why lifelong learning is also having higher weightage for each of the outcome. The course objective for analog and digital communication is to familiarize students with the fundamentals of analog and digital communication system, because analog communication is the primary communication system, thereafter digital communication has come. So comparison as well as their foundation knowledge required to be transmitted to the student, to provide students with tools and for communication signal analysis. So there are various mathematical tools, simulators that will be provided to students to better understand about the application of such tools, to familiarize students with various techniques for amplitude modulation and demodulation of analog signals, to develop the students' ability to determine the effects of receiver frequency and phase errors in synchronous modulation systems. So phase error or magnitude error are critical cases which will be studied under these objectives. To familiarize students with techniques for generating and demodulating narrowband and wideband frequency and phase modulated signals, to familiarize students with the basic techniques for generating and demodulating pulse code modulated signals, to familiarize students with issues pertaining to the transmission of digital signals over bandwidth limited communication channels. So with this we will start the analog and digital communication system. Hello, this is analog and digital communication. We are practicing now digital modulation techniques, module 5. Some problems will be discussed in this class. The first problem states that a signal is sampled at 8 kHz and is quantized using 8-bit uniform quantizer. Assuming signal to noise ratio for a sinusoidal signal, the correct statement for PCM signal with bit rate of R is R equal to 32 kbps, signal to noise ratio of 25.8 dB, or R equal to 64 kbps, signal to noise ratio is 49.8 dB, R equal to 64 kbps, signal to noise ratio is 55.8 dB, or R equal to 32 kbps, signal to noise ratio is 49.8 dB. We already have gone through the theory related to the signal to noise ratio calculation for the pulse code modulation, in which you have seen that the calculation solely depends on the number of bit required to encode each of these samples. So therefore we can recapitulate that theory, and we can find easily that the bit rate would be 8 kilo multiplied by 8, that is 64 kbps. So here 8 kHz is the sampling rate fs, and 8 is the number of bit required to sample required to encode each of the sample. So that means the sampling rate required to be multiplied with number of bits required to encode it. So that is why you are multiplying 8 kHz multiplied by 8, so this gives you 64 kilobit per second. And thereafter signal to noise ratio calculation, that is 1.76 plus 6.02 multiplied by n, and the unit is decibel. So here you can see that number of bit required to encode each of these sample is 8. So therefore you can replace the number of bit requirement n by 8, and therefore you are getting the decibel is 49.8 decibel. So this type of there are variety of problems present considering this area of derivation, that is we have derived the signal to noise ratio explanations, as well as there are calculations of the number of bit required, calculation of sampling rate. So some equations are there, and depending on that there are variety of problems, out of which this is a classic problem which shows that if you have the idea of sampling rate, if you have the idea of number of bit per sample, then what will be the signal to noise ratio of the quantizer and the number of bit per sample. That means total bit rate. Overall bit rate has to be found out. Here the correct statement for the PCM signal bit rate also asked. So bit rate you got 64 kbps, and that calculation is not a difficult one, because if you know the sampling rate and if you know the number of bit per sample required to encode, then you can easily find out the bit rate. But when you are determining signal to noise ratio for the pulse code modulation, you are concentrating the equation should be for quantizer. Now why it is so? Because whatever is the noise produced in the pulse code modulation, that is due to quantization only. Because in case of pulse code modulation, when you are quantizing a sample, at that time you are approximating its magnitude with a predefined table. So that type of tabular value, that means suppose you have the table of 1 volt, 2 volt, 3 volt and 4 volt, but your peak to peak is varying between 0 volt to 5 volt. Okay, so at that time, suppose at any point of time if you have a sample with magnitude 2.2 volt, so you need to approximate it to 2 volt, because 2.2 volt is closer to 2 volt. So whatever sample magnitude you are finding, if it is closer to predefined table, you have to approximate it with respect to that magnitude only, which is predefined. So 2.2 volt when approximated to 2 volt, a error generated, that is known as quantization error, and depending on that error only we are finding signal to noise ratio. So there is no signal to noise ratio calculation with reference to encoder, because in case of encoder, once we got the quantized signal, each of the level may be encoded by specific number of bits, and the calculation you know, that is number of quantization level. If L equal to some numerical value, then you can calculate the number of bit required to sample is the logarithm of L base 2, that is with reference to base 2, because it's a binary. That is why you can take the logarithm with reference to base 2 of the number of quantization level. And here the second problem, which states that a 1 kilohertz signal is flat top sampled at the rate of 180 samples per second, and the samples are applied to an ideal rectangular low-pass filter with cutoff frequency of 1100 Hz. Then the output of the filter contains only 800 Hz component, or 800 to and 900 Hz component, 800 and 1000 Hz component, 800, 900, 1000 Hz components, etc. So here the sampling rate is defined 1800 samples per second, and the message frequency 1800 by 2, that means it is 900 Hz. So since the sampling rate is 1800 samples per second, the highest frequency that can be recovered is 900 Hz. So in this problem, the sampling rate is given, that is 1800 samples per second. So therefore message frequency is easy to calculate, because we know the Nyquist rate is twice the message frequency. So therefore message frequency is half the sampling rate, and that is 900 Hz. Now again, since the sampling rate is 1800 samples per second, There's a sampling rate means number of samples available in 1 second. The highest frequency that can be recovered is 900 hertz only, because when you are recovering the message frequency, that means you are extracting the information from the pulse modulation, and that is obviously 900 hertz, no other frequencies, because 900 hertz is the only highest frequency available in the message. And remember, this is the highest frequency available in the message, and with respect to the highest frequency of the message, sampling rate is determined as minimum it is 2 times of message frequency. Here is another problem, that is the third problem. The Nyquist sampling interval for the signal sync 700T plus sync 500T is which one? 1 by 350 second, 5 by 350 second, 1 by 700 second, or 5 by 175 second. So here, if you rewrite the equation xt is equal to sync of 700T plus sync of 500T, you can divide, you can find a simplified equation is equal to 1 by pi t sine of 700 pi t plus sine of 500 pi t, because the equation of sync is nothing but sync x is equal to sine of pi x by pi x. Here x is nothing but the time axis t, so that is why you can easily write that sine of sync of 700t is nothing but sine of 700 pi t divided by 700 pi. Not 700 pi, it is pi multiplied by t. So that is why 1 by pi t has been taken common on the left hand side, and here xt is band limited with message frequency 350 hertz. Thus Nyquist rate is 2 times of fm, that is 700 hertz. The sampling interval is 1 by 700 second. A signal xt is having a mathematical expression, that is 100 of cos 24 pi multiplied by 10 to the power that is 3t, and here it is told that it is ideally sampled. That means 2 times of message frequency has been taken. Whatever message frequency is residing within this equation, we have to find out, and 2 times of that is the sampling rate. With a sampling interval is given 50 microseconds. So sampling interval is nothing but the ratio of the sampling rate, and then passed through an ideal low pass filter with cutoff frequency of 15 kilohertz. So here, which of the following frequency present at the filter output you need to derive, whether it is 12 kilohertz or 8 kilohertz or 12 and 9 kilohertz, 12 and 8 kilohertz, all these things. So as it is following the Nyquist rate, therefore the sampling interval is already equal to told the inverse of the time period, and time period is given 50 microsecond. You are getting sampling interval, that is 20 kilohertz, and the carrier frequency is 12 kilohertz, because it is 24 pi 10 to the power 3. So if you divide it by 2 pi, you are getting, it is nothing but 12 kilohertz. Now the frequency passed through the low pass filter is the carrier frequency fs minus fm, or 12 kilohertz and 8 kilohertz. So these are the frequencies. So carrier frequency you need to consider, and the fs minus fm is another frequency which is passing through the filter output, because we have the sampling frequency, and therefore message bandwidth is also known. So therefore fs minus fm is another frequency component. This is another problem where it is telling that in a pulse code modulated signal, if the code word length is increased from 6 to 8 bits, the signal to quantization noise ratio improves by the factor, which factor, 8 by 6 or 12 or 16 or 8. So here the power, that is signal to noise ratio, we know signal to noise ratio is given by 2 to the power 2n, this expression. So we can take the ratio of signal to noise ratios for the first case and second case, where n is the code word length. So it has been told that if one time it is 6 bit and one time it is 8 bit, then what will be the signal to quantization noise ratio improvement. So that is why we have to take the ratio, and p is the ratio. So SNR1 by SNR2 gives you 2 to the power 2n2 by 2 to the power 2n1, N1, N2 you know. So that gives you the numerical value 16. So therefore option C is the correct answer. Thank you.